live with us next. But there's confirmation that Arsenal have 9 points. PSV play later this evening, so they've only played 2 games at the moment, 1 win and 1 draw. Arsenal, of course, play PSV next week, next Thursday, live with us. So a scenario for them to wrap up Group A with 2 games to spare. Arsenal, Martin and Joe watching. Will Mikel Arteta be happy with that? It was kind of bits and pieces tonight, wasn't it? It was that kind of game. I think all in all, I think he'll be happy. You know, of course, he wants maybe a slightly better performance, but it's 1-0 to the Arsenal. They've managed to grind out a game. They gave a lot of opportunities to the opposition tonight. Yeah. It seemed like they were just doing enough. But that's OK. The run that they're on, everybody else getting a run out is determined, really determined. The changes he's making, 5 changes. A lot of the first starters were coming onto the pitch. So, no, a real intention from the manager, maybe not quite matched by the players. But then I think, you know, they live to fight another day because there's big games coming up at the weekend, and I think that's just nice. Keep that winning habit going. OK, not an incredible performance, but it gives you work to do. And obviously they still need to keep improving, Arsenal, keep proving that they are the real deal to challenge Man City within the Premier League. Yeah, this wasn't perfect. It didn't have to be. They just saw off. It didn't have to be. You have to remember, 14 games winning in a row from Bodo Glimt. You know, and you have to put that in the context because, you know, a lot of Arsenal fans would have seen this team blow away Tottenham, blow away Liverpool, and expect them to go there to Norway on a frozen pitch, horrible AstroTurf pitch, and take this team apart. But it's a good professional performance. Martin's right. There was little holes in there that Mikel would be able to go to centre. I was look, come on, guys, you need to concentrate because they could have cost them a couple of times. But you're really nitpicking overall. All the players coming in, the younger players done well. They've done themselves justice. The older players come on, saw the game out, had a run out. And, you know, the band keeps rolling on for Arsenal. You know, it's a fantastic season so far. And the character was there tonight, which is what I would look at, to go there and win. Yeah. So, a big plus for Arsenal. But now we've got the main course now. West Ham are up. We'll get there, don't worry, we'll get there. On Bukayo Saka, he's only that relatively recently turned 21. How good is he? Oh, he's top draw. He's come through the academy. He's had his foot on every rung of the ladder at that club. He's now showing the way for the next generation. Tonight was the difference. A little bit of class that he has. You know, he's a left-footed right winger. It's really difficult when he comes inside. It's just that change of pace. He gets back. I know he gets a little bit lucky there, but that now is really quite emphatic, really, when you see Salah doing that for Liverpool, don't you? Yeah. And he's like in that mould now, starting to come off the line a little bit more, becoming more central. And him and Martinelli are now really going through the gears in Arsenal jerseys. Yeah, I mean, what you have to do, you have to understand how young he is as well, where he is in his career. Arsenal have got such a gem here. You know, he's already so experienced. He's one of the leaders on the team, on the pitch. He takes responsibility. I love that goal where he taking the ball on the back foot and almost teasing the full-back out. And then once he sees the space, he's got the speed to exploit. He's a fantastic footballer. And he's one that Arsenal want to tie down and build this new regime, this new great side that seems to be emerging. Is that his best position, playing off the right? I think so. I think it's his best position, but the beauty with him is you could use him there, you could use him left of a front three, you could use him as a 10, left wing back, right wing back. He's just a fantastic footballer, and he's learning. He's getting his education through Arteta. You know, fantastic players, young players around there. They've all got this energy, and they've kept it going tonight. It's important momentum at this stage of the season. Will you get in your team, Invincibles? He'd be close. That was a little bit special. There's some trophies to win first, Matt. But, you know, I mean, listen, when you look at it, Pepe's path. You know, Ralston Larry brought him in thinking, obviously wasn't looking at the youth team at that point. Now that club is together, they know what talents are emerging through the youth ranks, and everybody is on a conveyor belt. It's like a soccer factory of young players that are coming through that football club, and Saka just shows you why, when they get in the team, how it seems to mean much more for them. Doesn't matter where you are, on a difficult night, on an AstroTurf pitch, he's still going to deliver. And from a defender's point of view, does it worry you that they gave up some chances tonight? I know there was a bit of a rotating back line through the game, but if you're looking chances, Bodo. Well, I mean, Turner made a couple of good saves. You know, he's you could say he's a relatively inexperienced goalkeeper. He needs to be tested. I thought he came through that examination well, but you don't want to keep giving chances to the opposition, and it didn't seem to me that they were capable really of putting the ball in the back of the net tonight. I just wonder, you know, you look at Arsenal, we're talking about, even though they're top of the table, we're talking about them as chasing down Manchester City for the title. Yeah. And if they will feel, or if there will come a point in the season where they will feel either this is about trying to finish second, or this is about
how far we can push this Manchester City, how far along the season. There'll be a point where they will start to believe that they could win the title.
I think that comes February, March time. I think after the World Cup, things settle down. I think if they're there or thereabouts Arsenal, certainly top spot, then that's got to be the thought process. I mean, I know everyone's talking about Manchester City and the standards they set because they win games week upon week. It's like they don't feel pressure. But for Arsenal, if they can get a bit of luck with their fitness, because I think that's always an issue, because 1 to 11 or 1 to, say, 13, 14 players, brilliant, give anyone a game. But the thing is, once you go past that, Gabriel Jesus, if he gets an injury, or Saliba, like, have Arsenal got the squad? But I think that March, February time is when you'll start to kind of see, OK, where exactly are we? But all Arsenal can keep doing right now is winning the game and beating whoever's ahead of them. Like, you look at the game against... And I always felt Liverpool was the test, because Old Trafford, Arsenal struggle at Old Trafford. We've seen that before. Against Tottenham at the Emirates, Arsenal always beat Tottenham at the Emirates. But whenever they play against Liverpool, home or away, they usually get beat. So can they get over that hump? They did that against Liverpool, and they suffered a few setbacks. The equalisers, Liverpool dominated, I thought, the large part, so the second half, the first half, the end, they get that goal just before half-time. The reaction from the crowd, the players, there's just a different mindset there. But as you said, February time, March time, if they're still there or thereabouts, they've got to start thinking about challenging Manchester City for the title. It can't just be about second.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, because it feels as though they're kind of like pace setters, the rest of the Premier League, as they're kind of tagging each other in and out to sort of try and push Manchester City, who are just raising the standards all the time. I know Manchester United finished second to them in the lockdown season, but never really challenged them at the top of the table. Can this Arsenal side do it, do you think?
I wouldn't believe they can. I slightly
getting
disagree.
so excited, you know.
I kind of slightly disagree with Darren so much as, well, defensively. I mean, Ben White's been playing at right back, but Tomiyasu came in yesterday, was terrific, and I've always liked Tomiyasu as a right back. But if you were to lose a Saliba, Ben White can play at centre-half. So you do have those options. And at left-back, you've got Zinchenko or Tierney. So the recruitment overall has been pretty good. But if they were to lose Jesus, you're losing a guy who can take responsibility. Again, these guys know. But I think as far as City are concerned, they scored 96 goals, was it, last season, without Haaland. So it's not Haaland.
My gosh, I forgot about that. Wow.
How's Haaland getting on this season?
Amazing, it's true.
Honestly, and the thing about Haaland is that he scored 15 times this season. Last season's Golden Boot was won with 23 goals. There were 9 months to go for this guy, 29 games to go for him to score even more goals. So I think as far as they're concerned, they're almost using Arsenal as stalking horses. Is in November,
the only thing I would say on that is
January.
City could end up winning the same amount of games, but just winning them by a bigger margin.
Well,
because there isn't that much room for improvement in terms of their results.
Not really. And the thing is, you're looking at the team, there is so much experience in the team, so much know-how. Ikanji's joined the team. He's slotted in as if he's played there all his life. I think if you were to lose individual players, there are other players who can step in. And I think the biggest quality they have is humility. Because however good they are, they still go into every game as though they've got to fight to earn the right to play.
That manager.
And I think, exactly, the attitude reflects the leadership. And when you have that, it's a massive asset to be able to compete.
And it's something as well, Darren, that Mikel Arteta will have seen and will instill in Arsenal. Nothing's done, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know, people just talking about, can you challenge them? You have to try and challenge them. That's what you try to do. You try and win the games. Very fortunate yesterday. It was a soft penalty, but at the same time, City are looking at Arsenal and say, oh, there's no Liverpool. Oh, you're going to chase us now. OK, we'll see how you go. So they win that game. Now Arsenal won that game. So City will say, OK, we'll see how they go. Because we're looking at a team at the moment that don't have to do too much to beat teams. You know, we're talking about a Southampton side that you normally go... Southampton go to and cause them problems in the way that they do this block. Brush them aside. Brush them aside, and that's what they're doing to teams, whereas Arsenal are going to have to fight and scrap, and how much appetite have they got for that? Because City, you look at it and you think, I don't know when they're going to lose a game or slip up. And even if they do, it's not going to be more than one.
This could be one of the first years where I think Liverpool have to set up to stop City. Because if they try to attack City and they leave space in behind, City will destroy them. And it won't just be Haaland. The way everyone sets up to stop Haaland, Foden scores. 5 in his last 2. You stop Foden, De Bruyne scores.
Murray comes into the team and he gets his...
Exactly. Cancelo can score the kind of brilliant individual strike he scored at the weekend. I cannot see how you stop this City side.
No, they might need to take tips off Aston Villa, perhaps, in terms of how you can get a draw against Manchester City, and that relies on City being off form as well. But Liverpool then just challenging for the top four. Now, that's what they have to focus on. And Arsenal was saying challengers rather than contenders at the top of the Premier League table.
Quietish first half, dominated in terms of possession by Arsenal, just the one shot on target. That, of course, the goal, which Bukayo Saka scored, Martin. And I suppose in the context of all the teams that have gone and failed at Glimt, it's pretty good from Arsenal, but it's not thrill a minute, this.
It's not, but then this is about the reputation that Arsenal are building, isn't it?
Yeah.
These are the games where have been impressed me most this season, maybe away at Brentford. I know it's not quite a Premier League quality, but you've got to grind out those games. You've got to be in the right place at the right time and stand up to the opposition and then play when you can play. And when you get the ball to quality players like Saka, he's just different class at the moment, this fella.
Oh.
Honestly, he has the fullback on toast. What he's trying to do here is he wants that space to attack in behind. He just slows the defenders down and then he just goes at high speed, change of pace. He gets a little bit lucky, it reflects, but brilliant how he just wants to get into that area. Lokonga as well, actually. I think there's some nice touches tonight. You can see the improvement with him. And then Saka, that class that he has now in his game, he's gone to another level. England, Arsenal, he's got to play right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's got that wonderful combination of speed and control and awareness. He dribbles with his head up. What actually affects the defender, when you're dribbling towards him and you've got your head up, defenders will know he's looking to make a pass here, and then you're automatically making him second guess. He's a wonderful player, Saka, and every time I watch him, he's improving.
Defensively, they have knocked on the door a couple of times, Bodo Glimt, haven't they? Perhaps could and maybe should have scored one of these.
A couple of long balls, really. This one was an early one inside of Ben Wright, and it just creeps across, doesn't it? And I think Holding gets a really vital touch on this, as we're going to see right now. Maybe that could have been dealt with a little bit firmer, and then again it's a long ball. Maybe their starting position, something that George Graham would have been screaming at the TV set, I'm sure, and get another 10 yards up, make yourself favourite to go and win that ball, and then it's a horrendous finish.
It's a horrendous finish. But if you're Bodo Glimt, they've been given a chink. Otherwise they go in with no chance. There's a little chink of a glimmer for them. It's that long ball over the top. And Martin's right, they're not up quite enough. There's a little bit of differences. The only problem for Arsenal in the second half is if they take their foot off the gas and they start trying to move it about. They need to keep doing what they're doing, keep on it, and make this. This is a fantastic away performance in Europe if they can continue this for another 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's certainly where they've got to in a relatively short time that we're kind of almost bemoaning that it's a bit boring. That's Arsenal are just finding a way to control and win.
That's right. I mean, if it's 1-0 to the Arsenal tonight, we'll all be happy. But, I'm expecting Ødegaard maybe to be protected a little bit, rocked his ankle somewhat. And then Saka, does he stay out there? Big game against Leeds coming up at the weekend.
Marquinhos would love a little go at
it. Yeah, so maybe some changes will come our way at half-time.
Martin, is it fair to say from an outsider's perspective, 2 years ago, this is a game I'm sure this Arsenal team would have got beaten in?
Well, it would. I think definitely that with the calibre of player that he's playing is to stop any kind of slip-ups, because this would be really tricky, wouldn't it? Without a Saka in there, without a Ben White, without a Saliba, but they're in there. The experience has taken us through.